black community has plenty of strength in itself. It doesn't need government to bail it out. It doesn't need government help. It doesn't need to be relying on government, just like the rest of Americans. And this is a conservative principle. Forget about parties. This is a conservative principle that goes back to our foundings. Individual liberty, limited government, and I think that that would be better for the black community also.
You know, Rod, you were on this broadcast last week saying that this is a golden opportunity for the Republican Party to make inroads in the African American community. What do you mean by that?
Well, it is, because I think that just as you're hearing in this panel here, just as you saw on the lead up to it in Dwayne's package there's a lot of dissatisfaction among black Democrats with the Democrat Party. I think they have been taken for granted. I think Democrat policies have not worked for blacks, or for anyone really, but particularly not for blacks. Under Barack Obama, they did considerably worse, and under Obama, or under Trump now, they're actually doing better. So I think it's a huge opportunity, but there are major challenges for the Republican Party in meeting that.
So what efforts are Republicans, or at least the president, doing to get more support among African Americans?
So Trump's probably pretty tone deaf on this issue, like he is on a lot of issues. So after Charlottesville, he just totally muffed that. But if you look at Trump's policies, they've been actually a lot better for everybody, but certainly if you talk about employment, school choice, vouchers, that sort of thing is going to be better for American blacks than Obama's policies. But as to your point in the lead up, your question, one of your questions was, do they even care? Yes, the Republican Party does care. We do want to make inroads into the black community. It's ironic that I'm on the panel here with Rodney Jones, because we met many years ago when he took exception to something that Party Chairman Joe Gruters had written at the time. We met at a Starbucks, had a long conversation. I tried to flip him because we sort of spoke a lot of the same language. You know, we weren't that far apart on issues, but in the end, it didn't work. He's still a Democrat, I'm still a Republican, and so it goes to the point of how difficult it is for Republicans to make inroads in the black community when blacks are, it was said, and they're born and raised a Democrat.
Well, okay, so Rodney, let me ask you the question. Is the African American community simply not listening to Republicans when they make their pitch?
I think Republican Party has a long history of discounting the black vote as well, basically not needing it.
Rod, I'll ask the same thing to the Republican Party. I remember going to the MLK breakfast, not this past year, but the year before, and Vern Buchanan was there, and he gets a lot of the props for doing so. On the other hand, it was the first time in years he had been there.
Right. I think the problem is really with the Republican Party, and it's an accurate charge. The Republican Party has sort of ignored the black vote, but part of that is because it's been, no matter what, it's about 90% Democrat, and at some point the Republican Party says, all right, here's our resources, we're going to put them this place or this place, and they don't reach out. I personally think that's a mistake. I think we need to make inroads in a generational sense and explain why conservative principles are better for blacks than liberal principles, and I think that that's a message that will resound in black households and black families. But if we don't do that, then we're just continually giving the Democrats that 90% vote, and then they take it for granted because they get it every time too, and the losers in it are the black voters. To Rodney's point in the last segment, that's exactly right. The black community has plenty of strength in itself. It doesn't need government to bail it out. It doesn't need government help. It doesn't need to be relying on government, just like the rest of Americans, and this is a conservative principle. Forget about parties. This is a conservative principle that goes back to our foundings. Individual liberty, limited government, and I think that that would be better for the black community also.